Yeah, I think most people listen to them on Spotify, but
Oh, okay.
where there's not even a,
Yeah.
you can't even see it
Yeah. Oh.
pretty well.
Oh, not the visual part of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
so these
'Cause
just go-
most people listen to podcasts when they're driving and that, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
But there's a heap of people that like are huge on YouTube with podcasts, eh?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But thanks for jumping on, man.
No worries, dude. Good to be talking to you.
It's been a couple of years in the making, like us catching up properly, eh?
Yeah.
I think.
A lot of talk and talking, but these, things get in the way a little bit sometimes.
Life does, especially you now, two young kids.
I know. It's
all
good
that
to
sort of
find the
stuff.
time, but dude, for sure.
And guide business has been good.
Yeah, guiding's good. Hey, mate, doing it for a while now, so it just kind of ticks over nicely, man. Just comfortably, nothing too crazy, but just the way I like it, and can spend time with the boys, which is always good, yeah.
You've been going for 15 years?
Yeah, about 15 years.
What's
now.
it like? What was it like then compared to now?
Oh, at the start, like anything, it's a grind, You're finding your place and you're trying to get clients and you're out there and you're doing presentations at fly clubs and stuff like that and networking. So I think that's the difference, And I'm the kind of guy that likes to things, happen a bit quickly, and make it happen quick because, if you don't do that at the start, like any businesses, it just takes longer. And I, had to pay for the lodge and mortgage and all that stuff. So I wanted to put a good dent in that. So yeah, I just went hard for like probably 5 years, and you could just see I guess a little bit. It doesn't always work out, but the fruits of the labour, basically, I guess. Yeah, and things got to a point now where it's quite cool. So yeah.
Was it difficult at the start?
Wade, it's like, I think it's just maybe my personality, but I'd never. In that sense, I don't overthink about stuff too much, as like, I kind of just go with what happens and then maybe adjust and adapt to the situation. Like if everything was falling to a heap, and I had to go dig holes or something and to pay the mortgage, I would have done it. But, just kind of, I don't know, it's like, I think the hard part was maybe, like I said, just getting your name out there. Like people knew I was a fly fisherman and I'd started fly guiding, but people got in trust in you, that's the big thing, man. They're paying you money for your service, and although they know you, they don't really know who you are. So I think that's the biggest thing, it takes a bit of time,
Do you think developing that relationship, like that personal relationship with your clients is valuable?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. It's amazing, like how you kind of, a lot of my clients and a few that you have met now, they're like your best mates too now. And it's sometimes hard, but you have to, and they understand it too, where you kind of draw the line because they still pay you for your services. You can't just go, okay, everyone's my mate now. You're going to get a freebie, but there's definitely things that you can do to, to benefit them. If they come up for a trip for 6 days or something and the weather's crap for 3, I'm like, we're all good, man. And especially for permit fishing, and let's just roll it over and next year you can have those 3 days. You know what I mean? Because they're good people and, they help me out, basically live by paying me. And at the same time, I want to, in return, because they're such good people, so you have more flexibility basically to do those things, definitely. It's not like just, okay, you've come for your 6 days, it's raining for 6 days, we're just going to go fishing and I'll see you again next year. I don't roll like that, man. Yeah.
Do you think that's why you've got so many repetitive clients every year?
I think so, yeah. Like, same again, like I didn't really have a major structure business model as it went, like I'm going to do it like this, but it just evolved into that, and I just, just my personality, I thought, well, this is how I like to do things, you know what I mean? And I'm not just by the book, And sometimes I think you've got to maybe like a lot of things, you've got to have a little bit of flexibility, and it probably goes a lot longer maybe down the track, Yeah, because people see that, you know what I mean, man? People understand that. They're like, oh. No, and it's not because you're doing it either to be like, how do you say it? Yeah, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do, really. If someone wants to come permit fishing for 6 days, 8 days, and they've dropped, you know, all this money and they just get crap weather, I feel bad for them, you know, also. And I want them to experience it and have a good trip. I don't want to, like, I just feel like it's kind of the right thing to do. Personally, it's just,
I think it's good, man. I do similar with clients, because it depends, like, who I'm working with. There might be big brands and stuff like that have the budget. I very rarely do discounts with that, because they're not going to do me any favours outside of the contract, right? And the money they stand to make from the content that I produce is like astronomical. Whereas if it's just like a mum and dad show, like, I'm more than happy to try and look after them and help them get to the point where they do become big.
100%.
And then I can always charge more. But I've built that relationship with them where they like and trust me. So then I grow with them.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, it becomes a real journey. And I don't think it's in any business. Like, everyone has a business, has clients. You have clients, I have clients, you know, the local hardware has clients, you know, and I guess we all do our thing to make, just just build that relation. It's just a natural progression.
It's how you stay in the game too, long term.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, you know, that come in and fizzle out, as you know. They come in really hot, you know, and I guess they're always the ones that are a bit not dangerous, but watch out for, because it's just all boom, boom, boom.
And it's all about this.
Yeah, there's no longevity behind it, you know. It's all quick gain and then just kind of, but because I love it and love doing it, you know, I always thought, if this does manage to evolve into something pretty cool, like, you don't want to be it for the long haul, man. I mean, it's a pretty cool job, poling around the flats at Hinchinbrook.
It is, man, like outside on the boat all day, every day. It's there's nothing wrong with that.
I say to people, you know, here at Hinch, I say, mate, even it's a tough day, dude, just look around, man. Like, it's still a good day.
It's a beautiful place, Hinchy.
It is.
It's just one of those unique places. Yeah, you get a lot of cloud and rain and shit, but holy, where the mountains, like the rainforest meets the ocean, and all that. You're up fishing against some big cliffs and some of the scenery and stuff.
And you just expect King Kong to come running down that hill at you or something. You throw him rocks at you, go, get off my island, you know. But the other cool thing is what we were talking about the other day too, is like, you know, you can be fishing for barras right there and go 200 metres and be chasing permit. Like, it's pretty insane stuff, hey?
It's mad.
It's not like, I've got to go all this way to chase a permit and then I've got to go all this way to chase a barra. It's like, you know. And I've done it, I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of times where the permit tide's finished, let's go barra fishing. We literally drive over there. So, we got a barra. It's like, what the hell's going on? I think it's special. Like, at the moment, like, you're doing it, or because maybe I'm a bit more used to it, I don't. But imagine what the client's thinking sometimes. And I heard them say, man, how hectic was that? I just got a permit and then we went over there and I'm like, it is actually, it is super cool.
I think it is, man, because it's like the species diversity here is incredible. And you've always got something to do.
Yeah.
Like, you can always find something to do regardless. And we've caught, man, the species even I've ticked off. Like,
you smacked them, dude.
I smacked a few this week, and I'm here on work. I'm here working, but there's like barra, jacks, grunner, fingermark, like all those species, and then we caught like wolf herring. I haven't seen a wolf herring in years.
Yeah.
And there was a heap of them on that flat.
Yeah.
And then you got permit, big queenies, GTs,
for
Valley.
sure. Yeah.
It's epic, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask if they're booking, you know, what do we catch around the mangroves? And I'll always say, well, the two main species are mangrove jack and barramundi. And then outside of that, you're always in a chance with a thready, a blue salmon, grunter, finger mark, all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, so cod, whatever, tarpon. So it gets more diverse, and then you're getting on the flats, you know, the big four, which you'd call it, like GTs, Goldens, Queenfish and Permit. But then, you know, you can get Diamond Trevally at sometimes, or Little Cobia, and, you know, so yeah. But, it is quite diverse, definitely, yeah.
Was it a hard fishery to figure out?
Yeah, 100%, man, yeah. At the start, because, you know, shallow water and flats fishing it's all about timing on the flats, and water height's critical. It doesn't matter whether it's for barramundi or permit or just flats in general, sand flats, but because different flats here fish good at different times, you know, I just found in the early days, whether it was more so barramundi, but you get there, you're like, it's too shallow, then you go there, it's too high, you know, but once you figure out a pattern, And like I said, for flats fishing, water height's everything, and it never stays the same. Within half an hour, it changes, you know. And now I know this place like the back of my hand. It's like, and wherever I'm going to fish, the southern end, top end, you know, like, I just quickly remember the other day, you know, we're fishing for barras, and I said, oh, the water's just a little bit high here, and we weren't getting any bites, and then I just moved up like, you know, 500 metres to shallow area, and then started catching fish. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of...
It's a game of inches, man.
It is, man, it is. And then then I'd say, oh, well, let's fish our way down, and the water had got better, too shallow where we just caught the fish now, and then down there where we weren't, it was too high, then we're getting all the bites down there. So it's really that kind of fishery. And then once that whole flat's done, then, you know, if you're barrow fishing again, then I'll go to another place that I know fish is good around whatever 1.9 metre high, and that might last for another hour, you know. And once you figure that out, it takes a long time, dude. It takes a long time.
And especially to put it in like a system where, excuse me, I've still got this mongrel cough. To put it in a system where you can go, okay, today's high is this, its low is this, it's this time. We can go here, then we'll go here, then we'll go here, then we'll go here, and do that, and all be pretty systematically like, well, like good, works good.
It does, yeah, it does. It does definitely works good, but you've got to be like not constantly, but moving a fair bit. And then on the same time of that, you'll go to a bank, and I'm not saying just because the water height's right, the fish are there, and you start feeling it, or you're not seeing, again, once just for barra, say for instance, you're not seeing much bait or not rolling any fish, and it's like, let's go to another bank because today this bank's not fishing well. And of course that happens too. Just because the water height's good doesn't mean the fish are there. So there's that other side of it too. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's like moles are running around, but you know, anyone that knows Hinchinbrook well, whether it's sand flats or the mud flats, you see them moving pretty constantly, hey. It's not, you know, there's drains and that you can sit on, but it's not like, you know, the NT where you can sit on a mud drain and just cast gold bombers for 5 hours and just hook 100 fish. It's not going to happen in Hinchinbrook, bro. No chance, dude. No chance.
And it just moves so quick, man. Like everything changes so quickly, and then like you can look, it can be this primo flat and look perfect, and you won't see a skerrick bait and there'll be no fish.
Yeah.
And then you'll go to this random spot that just looks shit house, and there's jelly prawns bouncing off the walls and like all sorts of things. Yeah. It's incredible like that. I really like it. Do you like how did you learn to be that switched on about it all?
I don't know, man. I guess it's just
got it in you.
It's just like anyone, whatever they're good at, you know. If someone's good at bow hunting, like the film you showed me, and that guy's so in tune with H, you know, it's just, and I guess I had to figure it out if I wanted to make a business out of it and a guide, because, you know, success driven really for a guide is like at least finding fish, you know what I mean? If you haven't got the results, then, you know, people are kind of going to go, well, Clint's a top guy and he's great fun, but we're not catching anything or seeing anything. And, you know, down the track, you know, being friendly is not really going to, as a guide.
You still got to...
Yeah, you still got to kind of have results. So I think it was probably driven a bit by that, but also myself, like self to drive and figure it out, man. Like, I used to go out and I wouldn't even fish, man, and go on the flats and the mud flats and just look, man, and understand it. You don't... People maybe, I don't really know what everyone else does, but you don't need to be fishing to, I think, especially the sand flats, because you can get caught up in the fish if you see one, but you're not really taking everything in. So I used to go on the sand flats in particular and just like pole around, because I was learning to pole too, and just look and observe and see, okay, permitter coming through that, okay.
Not even taking a rod?
No, dude, nah, because that takes up more of your time because you're actually fishing, you know what I mean? And you might be missing things at the same time, and you get caught up in the fishing rather than observing. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah, I do.
And I told a good mate of mine, Johnny Campbell, that. I said he started to do a bit of fly guiding down the Burdekin there and all that area, you know. And I said, Johnny, because he goes, oh, you know, I'll go out and I'll go for a fish and have a look. I said, Johnny, man, just go with your electric or whatever and just drive around and just look at the river mouths and just observe, man. Where the tide is, what's happening, fish moving, because you know you might be fishing and then fish are moving and you're missing that. You can't observe that while you're fishing because you're so into that moment, you know. Then you're into a 20 kilo GT and you're on it for half an hour and you're missing 30 minutes of the tide, you know. And yeah, we chatted for a while, and we chatted later down the track, and he goes, far out, man, I've been going out, and it's just so cool, just looking around, hey. And I was like, I told you, man. So that's what I did a lot. To be honest, I've never told anyone, and it doesn't have to be a secret, but like to understand it, I think, and that's the same as that hunting guy on that vet. Didn't he say, he goes, I'll just walk around and sometimes I won't pull the bow out and observe, you know.
Just takes the camera.
There's a lot to be said, or the cameraman. There's a lot to be said about that, hey. Yeah, because you can get caught in that moment of fishing, you know, and you don't have a 360-degree observation. You're just focused on that moment type of thing. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how I personally did it. Yeah, and of course I had a fish now and then. I'm not saying like but definitely a lot of the time I would just go out, and if I wanted to learn one flat really well or study an area, I'd just drive around and have a look. Yeah,
that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
And are permit as complicated as people say and think? Do you
Not
think?
really. No. I think the biggest thing is people just their heart. What's it called? Like the stomach drops or whatever when they have a shot, and it just goes all to shit. Basically, pardon the French, but it just gets the better of them. You know, the people that fish best for. No, I shouldn't say that. No, but a lot of people that fish best for permit are people that don't know anything about permit. Because I say, there's a fish, okay, we're going to fish for this fish. Well, they don't know the extremity of it, you know what I mean? It's not in their head, it's not this little thing in their head going, permit, I can't do this, I've got to do this, I've got a Belgium cast, I can't slap it down. You know, they overthink it, man, and people a lot of the time, mate, I've had people, honestly, and they don't know maybe so much about it, and I just see a fish and cast at a fish, man.
Just because it's so casual?
Because there's no, you know what I mean? I have this lovely lady, Carrie Ann from Canberra, and full trouty, and you know, she started to fish with me 2 days a year or here and there anyway, and this is one of a lot of examples, but just one day the weather was nice. I said, the tides are good, do you want to have a try at some permit? And she goes, yeah, I've heard about them, it sounds great. Okay, let's do it. You know, I said, you know, we might not see any and it's a pretty tough... She goes, no, I know that's what you do, and you know, most people come to fish that with you. And I'm like, okay, but you know, and she's like, it's all right, even if we don't see it. It'd be nice to do that because I've done like the queenfish with you and barras and blah, 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 and tunas, whatever. So we went out and mate, like, we didn't see much, and an hour in there was like a little patch, and she had a cast and it was just off the mark a bit, and the fish swam away. And another school came about 10 minutes later, a school of about 15, mate, and I said, all right, Karen, it's all good, yep, just crouch down, a 25-foot cast, and she just did this beautiful cast. I'm like, that's really good cast, just let it sink, yep, awesome. And just everything there was no, oh, that's a permit, and she wasn't doing these ones, it was just her normal cast, and yep, drag, she's away. So keep it low, and she didn't nervous. I said, just point it at it, and when it wants to run, feed it out, Just kept it low, drove that hook in. I'm like, all right, go into fight position. I said, you've done everything now, whatever happens, if it falls off, you've done everything right from the start. It's in God's hands now. Not that I'm like that, but as in, and she got the fish in. It was a beautiful anak, mate. But that's what I mean, like, there was no overthinking. She didn't put herself into there. Where some people, they just come like way overhyped, and then, it's game on, and they just really struggle to hold that moment together. So, mate, I got so off the track. Sorry, dude, with your question.
No, that's exactly, that answers it. No.
But I got so off the track. But answering it, they really aren't, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can feed them and fish it well, yeah, they are fussy, 100%, man. There's no doubt about it. They're very fussy. It's not like you put a queenie in front of, a clouser in front of 20 queenies, like you're probably going to get 15 each, you know what I mean? Or GTs maybe, or whatever you want to call it, or Goldens. Yeah, they are fussy, but if you do a lot of the right things, man, they're very, very catchable. And you see the people that catch them, why? Because they're doing the right things, man. It's not by luck, dude.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and when I say doing the right things, there are a lot of steps to do right. You get one of those wrong and you're not catching that fish.
Yeah. What are some of the wrongs, do you think?
Well, I'd say start from casting, I think when you talk, I can't remember. I did a little thing a while ago, and I'd send it to clients. These are the 6 steps that you should because I like to get people prepared. And I think the first thing is casting. So a lot of people, just as they're about to release their shot, they deaccelerate. I don't want to spook the fish. Well, as soon as you deaccelerate, bro, you're done. The game's almost over because that's going to dump. You're going to dump the cast. It's going to be short every time. Mm-hmm. It is, man.
It is.
It is. You're going like this, and then you're like, because I don't want to F it. You know what I mean? And it's the game's begun. So they've already gone. I don't want to spook this fish. I might only get 1 shot for the day. So the game's already finished, and the fly hasn't even got to the fish yet. And I see that all the time, man. And I say to people, look at it like if you've chased tuna or whatever, or you're fishing for barras, man, just fire it in there, man. Get it in there. As soon as you deaccelerate, you've got a 2.5 gram fly, you've got an intermediate line, typically 5 knots of wind or more, man, that whole thing's going to be short. Once you're short with permit, it's a bit of luck if you even get an eat then,
Yeah, well, you got to be in the game, like everything.
Yeah, rather, and I say to people, I'd rather you get it there and put it on its head and spook it than be short. Because I've seen plenty of times, like you dump it on your head and you go, oh no, just leave it. You know what I mean? You think you're going to spook it, and he tips and eats it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the short ones
you're not in the game if you're
very rarely get eaten, dude. So that's the first step.
Yeah,
I hope this podcast. Hope you got enough bloody
got
film.
Heaps of time.
Hope you got enough film on there.
We got heaps of time.
No, but as in that's the first one. The second one is like having like constant tension on your line. I'd say, like a lot of people aren't in contact with their line, which is huge. You know what I mean? So because you've got current, the skiff might be moving. Because I'm positioning the boat. Sometimes I actually will drag the boat back. They don't even realise, or the skiff, to drag the fly in position for them, and they don't even know I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I can just feel. It's all feel, So sometimes I'll be like, oh, they've gone that way a bit, so I'll kind of just pull it back or just pole back a bit, so I know it's going to. Anyway, but like having that tension is massive, man. Because when that fly gets to the bottom, well, it varies because I don't. I know some people like to fish the fly what you call static, just cast it and leave it. I do that sometimes, but very rarely. So if it's down there and I'm like, just drag it to get the fish's attention, and you're pulling in the slack, and that moment, if you've got slack and it doesn't move and then it moves over it, it's already on top of the fly, and then he's not going to see it. You know what I mean? So that's the next step, which is hard, man. Which is hard. It's like being connected, So instead of having like all that, you're in total connection while it's sinking. Yeah. So typically after the cast, like that, and it drops, the next thing's manage your line. Any slack, manage your line without pulling the fly, but manage your line and feel the situation, what's happening with current and wind. That's pretty hard, man. Because already people's emotions and their stomach's up here because they haven't cast the permit. So, yeah.
That's right. It makes sense and then like you've got usually it's wind against tide too.
That's
so you've
right.
got like weird bellies in your line. You don't know whether your fly's pulling or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one comes a bit of crossover to what I was just saying again then, but it's the stripping of the fly. So if you have got slack and it is on the bottom, and when I ask you to move it and it's not moving at that critical time to get the fish's attention, well, I mean, the game's over basically. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's mad that it's like it is a game of like 1%ers with permit, I feel, and more so permit than anything else, just because they're way more fussy in particular, and they move on a flat. Do you think they move on a flat different to most other?
They do. They're very erratic. Like, queenfish, goldens, as you've seen, they do move around a bit, but permit, like a good shot can be a very bad shot very quickly, and it's not due to the angler, it's the fish moving. And same again, but this is time on the water, or someone that can fish, like say Chris or something that can, or whoever can read fish well, which is hard for people to do too. And I don't really do it with too many people because they might not have, not trying to be, but the ability is like mid-cast, if I see that fish just and you can't make the shot and say it's going to be too far away or it's changed direction, I'll be like, whoa, pull it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes mid-cast, it's hard for a lot of people. Like they've already in their mind pulled the trigger. But good anglers can read that, and then on the back, they just drop the rod and then strip it in. Let's reset. You know what I mean? Because sometimes if you make that shot, it could just change the situation of the fish's mood. Because I do find too, like you can see after the first cast, typically the fish's mood change. You know, because sometimes these are fish are like sometimes. Whether it's size or numbers, 90 centimetres, but you know they're at 25 feet, dude. That's right there, man. You saw that one the other day, you know what I mean? And it just kind of swam around because it was kind of coming to the boat, and it's the same thing. It just felt something or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think is permit fishing here different to most other places? You think?
You know, it varies a lot. Like I fish for those ones in the States and stuff, and in Mexico their species over there, and they fish a lot of very light flies.
Mid-column eats type thing?
Mid-column eats, yeah. A bit of the bottom stuff, but a lot of just floating lines and stuff, you know what I mean? They don't fish intermediates, and I don't think they even very rarely fish sink tips. And taking nothing away from their fish, because they still, you know, they don't just eat because of that. But the huge advantage of that is when you've got a light fly and a floating line, how easy is that to cast? So like I said, they're not easier as in they're still fussy, but to have that element is huge, man. Imagine casting like a lightweight little fluffy fly and a floating line that's quite aggressive,
Even
man.
just water hauling and picking up, it's all on top of the water.
You know, like it changes the game. We're chucking bricks and heavy stuff, which is hard, man. It's a hard slog, especially if you haven't done it. And a lot of people come from a seriously long trout background where they're used to throwing 22 humpies and floating lines. So it's all like
risky,
this. Yeah. And the same again, the other ones over there, you know, you can fish there ones on cloudy days, you know, and a lot of their fish like push and like fin and stuff. Our nacks do, or block eyes or whatever, but you know, typically, man, and yeah, it does happen and it can, but typically you need a full sunny day.
Because the water, you're right.
Yeah, you know, because the water over there, they're fishing's like, you know, if you get the Palm Islands, it's all Great Barrier Reef, it's that gin clear water, so it's a different, ours is that estuary water. You get any cloud on it, man, you're just looking into nothingness, you know. And
it's clear, but it's not like clean, yeah.
Yeah, and I've guided, like I said, it's not like, yeah, look, we're on prime permit tides now, so to speak, and we've had cloud and you haven't seen me out there because I'm like, no, it's not even, you know. It's
just really full blanket.
Yeah. But anyway, so, but yes, getting back to your thing, like Hinchinbrook permit, I mean, even around the country, I fished, you know, on the west coast, I fished the Wessels, Cape York, or, you know, all basically from, I guess, what do they say, Harvey Bay to Exmouth, there's permit all up around, and I mean, they're all hard, you know. They're all hard. I think sometimes, to be honest, in the places that I fish that are maybe less, not that hardly anyone fishes for them here, but maybe less boat traffic, you know. This is Hinchinbrook Channel, man. A lot of boats go up and down, and if those fish aren't on the flats, they're typically on the channel, in the channel. So they're hearing a lot of that, but they know those flats have good food and they're hungry, and when they want to eat, they're up on there. So that's what might make them a little bit, because, you know, and I'm dropping down to 16-pound tippet sometimes, or blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I fish the ones, say, in Cape York, and I've had clients catch them on 30-pound tippet. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Yeah, but, and I'm not taking anything away from that because they're fussy up there too. But as in, you know, like once you get up to that top half of Marpoon, where there's a lot of probably the better permit fishing, like, or whatever these places, because they don't see a lot of boats, they don't see a lot of boat traffic. But I'm sure, man, if you had something set up there, like 3 lodges on each of those rivers, and there was like 20 skiffs running out each day, I bet you the mood of those permit would change up there very quickly, you know. Driving up and down the coast, being fished every single day, 100%, man. 100%.
They would get sick of it.
So I think that's why our fish here probably are a little bit more
finicky. Finicky,
maybe, yeah.
And like I know, like you don't fish like a flat the same way every time you go there either, do you?
Nah, dude, no. There's so, and that's just time on the water, man. And even the fly I might use, you know what I mean?
Because you're talking like half a gram sometimes, right? Like 2.3 grams.
Yeah, 2.3. So it's a quarter. Hang on. Oh yeah, no, 2. Yeah, so
2.3 grams to 2.7 and all
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
You'll literally go down to that much detail.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, you know, and it's purely for the angler. So if I'm fishing like closer to the bottom of the tide, you know, you can go lighter because the water's, say, this deep that you're fishing typically, or everything's running off. But if you're fishing a run-in tide, and, you know, you can fish permit in deeper water too, but it's a lot harder. Then you're going to, you know, put a heavier fly on, because that lighter one's going to take a lot more time to sink, basically, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just adapting to the situation too, you know. And also, you know, casting a heavy fly is like, it's a hard game. And over time, it's funny, like fly development for myself, and I guess other people are doing it at the same time, because the whole, you know, permit craze is bigger than it's probably ever been in Australia. It was, you know, it was big in those early days with, I guess, Morsi and those guys, and a lot of Americans coming over, I'd say, in the 2000s and that. And then it kind of took a bit of a back seat for a while again, you know.
Because people started finding new species too,
yeah.
like Tuskies blew
Yeah,
up.
that's
and all
right.
that sort of
Yeah,
stuff, you know?
yeah. And then, and now, but it's just had a whole nother revival. But during that time, there was, you know, some serious fly development, and it almost became, these uncatchable fish because of the fly development, which turned into basically going from a merkin crab or an epoxy shrimp, which was all influenced from Americans, you know, that brought it here. It's the right fly for over there, especially the merkins. But now you look back, man, you're fishing like a bead chain merkin for an axe here. You're not even in the game. Like, but they would have been doing it because it's like, it's a permit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because little was really known, and then over time it was like, it should be on the bottom. People like before me, like Greg Bethune and those guys, I was chasing them when I was like young fella. I had no idea about these fish, but as in, you know, studying them and going on, they're on the bottom, they're not really do what these Americans do, then the flies started to get a bit heavier. But when I started too, and just by not knowing, but it was like, your crab flies have got to be super heavy, you know what I mean? I was tying these things that were bricks, man. and it was almost like people couldn't, like, it was so hard for them to cast, but in my mind, I'm like, if you cast this, it's going to get to the bottom so quick, and you're so in the game. But as things have changed in fly development, and kind of, I've realised that, you know, that they don't have to be 5 to 6 grams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so, man, I mean, even for me, I say I could cast a little bit, but like, it's hard, you know? So imagine for the guy that comes up here once a year, and the rest of the time he's trout fishing, he's not even... So I had to start thinking personally for myself, like for clients, what is going to be, what is going to be manageable and catchable. I had to find that balance, So, you know, I've got some flies now. I only have, like, mate, I'm a permit guide, and I probably have 3 patterns that I use in different weights, but that's all I need, man. That's, And you don't have to overcomplicate it, man, because it's more reading the fish, or knowing you're flat at the time, maybe, in the water height, and fishing the fly correctly at that time. You know what I mean? I think that's way more important. It's so easy, you know, from lure backgrounds and fishing and YouTube, but it's easy to get caught up in having like 20 boxes of hard bodies, man. You even look at some of those, probably
one.
You look at or use one, or you know, you look at those barracuda. I don't know, I'm just saying, but they probably carry like 2 different tiles of paddle tails, and, you know, a few hard bodies, you know, because they know, like, it's how you fish it and where you fish it rather than. And I find too, a lot of that stuff, if you're always worried about fly changes and that, you're constantly thinking more about that than actually just fishing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like, realistically, you're trying to just, if you can you got a reasonably close fly, and then you're trying to target feeding fish, and you can read their behaviour well, you could get them to eat almost anything, most likely.
100%. I think, like with barras too, you know, I have like 3 barra flies I use, and probably a lot of it's to do with maybe water clarity. So if we're fishing barras in mud, like a bit dirtier water or mud line, I'll use a gold bomber just for contrast. But like the other day, you saw clean water, I'll just fish like a little tan bunny that looks like a prawn, you know, like, you could use the gold fly, but it's quite flashy, and you know we're typically fishing shallow water, and yeah, so it could be anyway. But I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, like I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, but that. Oh yeah, that's right. And I have clients go, should we change colours and do this? I'm like, no, man, the fish just aren't eating or they're not there, because if that fly's there, it's going to eat it. You know, they're opportunistic type of thing in a sense. Especially, I understand big rivers and dropping paddle tails down or whatever, or fishing different places with big flies. But this shallow water stuff, man, it's right there.
And
it's right there. It's literally right in front of their face. It's not. Oh, it's not a pink thing with a red head and green eyes. I'm not going to eat it. No. It's like if it comes past, if they're hungry, they're going to whack it. Yeah.
And you got that's one thing I did learn here. Is you got to bury it, man.
Yeah.
To fish it properly. It's
Yeah, man. Go deep or go home, I reckon.
You have to, because if you're a half
You've
a
seen
foot
it.
short,
You
6
got
inches short,
yeah.
no bite,
And you-
punch it in the mangroves and like pop it through all the shit. And
with that weed guard. Yeah. No, and you heard me saying, nah, bro, short, and like 1 foot right. Like, what's that all about? And you're probably thinking, what? And I'll say it happen all the time, and it might happen once or twice. And you'd hear me, oh, perfect cast. Whether you're going to get the eat, and one of them was like, yep, got him, you know. And you put maybe 4 or 5 casts, there's just a little bit left, right, short, and you had to put it right in that little pocket to get that eat. But that's just how you fish it. Hinchinbrook, you know, it's not all. But yeah, you've got to put it on. Barras don't move far, man.
No. There's a bit of an art to doing that well too.
It is too.
It's not as simple as what people make out to do that well.
Nah, it's not just cast in the snags and hope, hey.
No, and it's like identifying which like mangrove points and bits and pieces of timber and stuff's actually going to hold fish.
Yep.
Like it all looks the same when you
does.
first get there, and you're like, oh no, this one's jutted out a little bit further. Like it'll have more current or whatever.
Once you break it down, hey, yeah. And over time, and it's the client-guide relationship, or vice versa, guide-client relationship, that's where it becomes in perfect harmony, because, some people I can fish now that fish me for ages or whatever, and if we're fishing barras, and I just pole the boat and they're just putting the cast in.
Yeah, and you say nothing?
I don't have to say nothing, man. But at the start, when they left, right, short, you know what I mean? Strip, nut, shallower now, strip quicker, it's deeper, let it sink. But after a while, and that's what with permit, I probably still grind and go through the guiding process a bit more, as in, because it's a little bit that barra stuff, man. They know, and I'm like, how good's this? As in, I'm just cruising, and you can actually talk about other stuff while they're fishing,
Yeah, and have a chat.
Yeah, and they kind of get it. But hey, quickly, so getting back to that permit and the steps, we kind of got sidetracked.
We did.
That's right. I just want to finish it because it's quite important for, I guess, people to hear. But so after I said that, the stripping of the fly. So the next big thing, like if you do get an eat, like, any kind of rod movement, the fly's in and out of that thing's mouth so quick, you know what I mean? And most people might not know, but like a good sized permit, like, or an anak or whatever, they can, like, from 30 centimetres away inhale something, man.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro.
Huh.
Yeah, so you're talking like, or whatever, even 40 centimetres, so something that could be that far and they're here, and they can suck it in, bro.
What?
Yeah, dude. And I'm telling you, man, I've seen it plenty of times, and I'm never going to claim I can see the fly, but I know the area it's in, and I'm just like it's in there, yep, drag, leave it, he's on it, he's looking, and I'm like, he wasn't even close to that. No, he wasn't even close to that.
And he ate it?
Yeah, he sucked it from 30 centimetres away.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, man.
Like a hoover.
And I'm like, I kind of know where the fly is, and like I said, I'm never going to claim I can see the fly, because I can't, but I'll tell you, man, he wasn't near that fly.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they got the crusher plates. Yeah, so that's the
right.
thing where they go in and it goes crash like that.
Smashes.
So that's that gnarly. It's like a vice when you crank it up, but quick. And I've had hooks come back crushed.
Bam.
Like it's that. Because they're putting oysters in there and mussels and everything, and it's like this crusher thing. So they're pretty savage, hectic fish, man.
They're pretty cool, man. Like how they've got like that big snub nose, and they're like super visual too. Their eyes are like fucking overcoat buttons.
Yeah, they see everything, man.
Yeah.
So the biggest permit I've guided on the East Coast is a 101, a metre one. It wasn't at Hinchinbrook, it was further south, and that thing was a single fish, and it ate actually a size 2, like spawning shrimp thing, this big, man. Think of the size of that fish, you know, bigger than that one there, and it ate a size 2 shrimp, man. Like, it's
And you were targeting permit?
Yeah.
Right.
But as in, you know what I mean? Like, they see everything, man. So when you think they're not seeing it, or they've seen it, or they might not want to eat it, But
that's interesting.
They see everything, But that sucking thing is just so hectic. But so getting back to that anyway, because there's so much to talk about these fish because they're so cool. But like the next thing, like any kind of like strike, like any like strike with the rod, the game is pretty much over too, man. Yeah.
So you're just sort of letting it get tension, and then
you just my next big thing, like, and I try to tell people, and you know, everyone might do things differently, whatever, but you know, I've been doing this a long time, and and it just makes sense. So, and just the analogy, so if you get a fish, okay, and a lot of these fish are hoovering fish, like a permit, they're not biting down, you know, queenies, all that stuff, barras, they hoover it in, and then as soon as they know it's crap, they're spitting it out, okay? So you think about this, you get a bite from a permit, he sucks it in. So by the time you go from here to here, we're talking maybe milliseconds. How quick can you do that, right? But it's a long time compared to what that fish can spit it out. By the time you're here, he's already spitting it out, man.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah,
the lag, dude.
Well, you got to pick up all that line.
That's what I mean.
Even though you've got tension, it's still slack because you've still got the stretch in the line.
Yeah, and even if you do it like that, the lag time, because it's like, man, it comes in and out so quick. Like, if ever anyone's seen a barra reject something, dude, like, and a permit would probably be just as quick. It is so quick, man.
So how
dead straight? It's basically hand lining.
And
man.
you're not setting.
You as an angler, you got to feel the moment. You know what I mean? But typically, it'll feel like someone's pulling your shirt. You know, not always, but it'll just be this like you drag, and then it'll be like ooh, like that. You know, and you've got to read.
Do you hit them then, or no?
Well, you don't. You never really like do that because you're fishing 16 or 20. You don't need to, because if you like that, if it's pulling, you're set. And then you've got to feel the situation, because I always say, permit are going to do 3 things in most fish on the flats. They're either going to sit there and shake their head, okay, and go blah, 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 and hang with their score, or they're just going to take off, which is the perfect scenario, because you can feed the hook. And the worst scenario is when they swim to the boat.
Yeah, because you get slack.
Because you get slack, as you know, and that happens with barras all the time, doesn't it? It's like, why? And imagine a fly reel, dinky fly reel, like,
one to one,
or whatever. So anyway, I just say keep your rod low and just manage it and feel. But I'll talk them through it. I'm like, just hold it there, and then I'll just see if the fish. Same again. If the fish is like just sitting there with its school, which it can a bit, it's just sitting there. Okay, so you're just managing it like that and keeping that hook, because. Mate, same again, so many times. I've had permit come in, and they do have soft, but the barb's not even in, man. Yeah.
Just because of the tension on the hook?
Just the tension and everything about it. So
their mouths are like rubber too.
They are, but sometimes it just hasn't sunk in properly, you know? So the whole fight, because you've done everything right and kept the tension on, that's why you've kept that fish. But any kind of slack, it probably would have just popped out. But anyway, you know, and directly point it at the fish, and just manage it. And I always say, like, you know, hold it there, and it's shaking your head, and just wait for what it does. And like I said before, the perfect scenario, if it's running, you just point it at the fish again, rod low. And this is like, there's no rod lift at this moment or fight position at all, man, because you're just trying to keep that hook nice and driven in, you know? And yeah, nothing crazy like that, because man, I'll tell you, if a bigger knack, changing the subject again quickly, but if it turns its head that way, and I've seen it heaps, and you pull against it, mate, dude, the friction in that is just unbelievable. Like,
it's all over.
It is all over. And a lot of people can't even time that properly, you know what I mean? And they make a real bummer out of it. Yep. So it's all just like that. And then, if the fish just stays there, you hold it and then see what it does. Now, the perfect scenario, if it runs away, you just point your rod till all your line's clear, and then zzz, right, and then go into fight position.
Yep.
Same again, what I said before. It's in God's hands after that, like what I said about Karen. Whatever happens, happens. You've done everything right. Same again. fish shaking its head, it comes towards you. The absolute worst scenario. Most people, what they do, they go like this and they bring their rod up and they get stuck. Got fly line all over them. They're leaning on the lean post, and I call it the Statue of Liberty because they're like this with their fly rod. You know what I mean? That's, man, what are you doing in that position, bro? You should not even be in that pickle. That fish comes towards you, you keep it low, and you're in that position, strip as fast as you can.
Yeah.
As fast as you can.
Yep.
With a spin reel and whatever, a barrow, you know, you can whine. Like, you can't use your rod. Like, people go like that, and it's like, oh, and it's come loose. You've got way better chance. It's still going to be hard, but if you just strip as fast as you can.
Yeah. Let the fish clear your line.
Yes, exactly.
That was the number one rule I got taught a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's like the fish clears your line, like, unless it's small, but like, and you know you can just strip it in.
Yeah.
But like, if it's going to be a fish that can run,
Yeah.
like, you're better off just letting it take it.
100%. But yeah, and then after all that, I mean, you know, the fight's the fight. I don't like too much rod movement again, all that crap, like left, right. Just fight it nice, and then whatever happens. But what was that, like 5 really important things?
Yeah.
5, maybe 6. So if you do one of those wrong, dude,
You're in a bad.
you honestly, your chances go from like really well to pretty much zero. Like they're not forgiving, dude. They won't let you miss one of those things. I'm telling you, I've seen it. You know, more than enough. Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
One of those things wrong, and most people don't even get to the first. I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people struggle even to get to the first 2 steps, man.
Yeah, right.
Properly, because they dump the cast a lot. Because they just don't commit to it. I don't want to spook the fish. It's a permit. Oh my God, it's the holy grail.
Yeah. But then you're not even in the game.
You're not even in the game. I had one client, David, lovely guy, he's caught plenty of permit with me now at the start. He used to be starstruck by these things, you know. And I had to it's almost like you're a footy coach or you're some kind of training mentor coach. I'm like, Dave, dude, just how many goldens you caught? Just look at it as it's like a gold and just cast at it and fish it, man. Get it out of your head, it's a permit. Just cast at it as hard as you can.
Yep, and fish it.
And I don't care if you spook 20, but get this, like, I've got to just drop it out of your head. And it took ages, not ages, but it took a while. And then, like, once he crossed that threshold and spooked some and that, he got better from there. But to get to there, man, it was hard because every time you're like, oh, it's a permit, you know what I mean? It's the holy grail. And yeah, right. You've got to cast at it and through them, man. Yeah. As soon as you de-accelerate a 2 gram fly, like I said, intermediate line and wind, the game's over, man. It's over. But anyway, yeah, so that covered that. That's cool. Bit, yeah.
What are you looking for? Like, if I'm gonna try and find a permit flat, what are a few key things that I'd be looking for? Definitely
flats with gutters on them. Yeah. There's a lot of people, you know, and you might see it on somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, look at this flat, it's beautiful," and it's just a big flat. No good, man. Permit need gutters. Yeah. They need places they can move through and transition. 100%. Yeah. So I'd say gutters, definitely. I mean, and your typical place for a lot of permit is river mouths, you know, and there's river mouths up and down this east coast everywhere, and I can tell you, I fished a lot of them, and some are, you know, very prone to crap weather and dirty water, but they've all got permit on them. I haven't fished them all, I'm not saying that, but I've fished a hell of a lot, and most of them will have permit on them at some stage.
You're pretty much dead right too, and like I like those, like I'm not an expert either, but like those big inlets, like any that's like a big system with like a lot of the places at Stanage and all that sort of stuff that have those, they're massive inlets, and right at the back of them is like a couple of rivers and stuff like that, 100%. And those big flat inlets with flats on them and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah, definitely not too hard packed sand. Like sand, usually I always say too hard packed sand. Not in all cases, but doesn't have much life. You know, like sand where, for me, that I pole, that actually it sinks down a little bit because a lot of organisms live under there and that's what they feed on, you know. And you look at Hinchinbrook, a lot of the flats, like it'll have crust and it'll just go down under mud, and that's just like rich of nutrients. And they're like probably old islands or mud islands that have over time just become flats or whatever, but they're rich of life, man, like rich. Yeah, those hard pack ones, like, yeah.
Does current matter?
Current tide, the same thing, would you say?
Yeah, same.
Oh, sorry, 100%, yeah. I mean, and that's like, same again, man, different places I've fished, like work on different tides. And it's same again, but it's like, yeah, current does matter, of course. I don't personally like too neat tides, you know? Yeah, but like I do like some flow, but then also not springs where you're going from 3.5 down to
You're only on the flats for about
to
half an
0.4.
hour.
Yeah, and the fish actually I don't believe go on the flats because they know they got to get off too quick. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but like on this East Coast, dude, I'd say the prime, and why we call it the prime time for permit is, and also because of stability and maybe sunnier days, is, you know, coming into that September, October, November, those 3 months. And it's purely because, like, from what for Hinchinbrook and definitely other places, you get extended periods of good tides. So typically in winter, whatever, you get one really good spring tide, hardcore spring, and then you'll kind of get a nice tide after that. And so it's the variation, but in like September, October, November, you get like 3 weeks of very fishable tides for permit. So it's a longer period. So the way I see it is the fish aren't having to get off and on the flats and move way out quickly and getting spun around too much. When you look at it on a large scale, you know what I mean, dude?
Yep.
They can just be in that area the whole time and
They can
sneak
just pop
on.
up and
And they never feel like, oh, you know, it's a big low today and I'm just going to be drained off the flat type of thing.
Because, well, fish are, like, the biggest lesson I learned with fish is they're all, or anything that you're hunting or anything like that, is like, they're all there for efficiency. The least amount of energy to spend for the maximum amount of return, like in food.
Well said, dude.
Yeah, and that's how you treat it, right?
Well said, man, because that's 100%.
Does the camera just go flat?
Oh no, did it?
No, it's still going.
Oh.
It's still going. I couldn't see the red light. I thought not.
What time is it? It's all right.
2:45. We've been on for nearly an hour.
Just like
Goes
that.
quick, eh?
Oh man, I could talk. Yeah. Anyway, So, yeah, tides do matter. Yeah. I mean, like, going into detail, I mean, geez, but as in, they definitely do matter.
Yep.
But stay away from the real big spring tides, of course. And I think everyone knows that in a sense, you know, anyone that has half an idea. But then also, maybe on the flip side, people might sometimes fish too neap tides, you know what I mean? And that you can find them then, but yeah, like, and their places are in the channel that I don't mind on real neap tides, but they're pretty small areas of flat, you know what I mean? Just the way it sets up, yeah. But some run is good, you know. Some run is definitely good, yeah. But when, you know, talk about maybe 2 metres a run, you know, that's still a good number. But once you start getting a bit more of that, there can be a little bit too much run, yeah, for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Would you say permitted probably your favourite fish to target from a guide's perspective?
Oh, yeah, I think so, man. I kind of, and taking nothing away against the other fish, but people have asked me before, and I honestly reckon, and I hope it's not snobby or whatever, but I don't know if I'd be guiding if there wasn't permit, eh? I really don't know.
I don't think that's snobby.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if that's
It's an addiction to doing
it's
hard
the right
things,
word,
yeah.
you know, man. It's just, I don't know if I could just be a guide personally that would sit there and just blind flog little queenies all day and tarpon. Like, it's fun and you got to do it sometimes and grind it out. And not everyone wants to chase permit too. So, you know, you do that style of fishing. But if that's all I had, I don't know if I'd be a guide. I'd hate to say it. Or I'd probably maybe go and just guide big barras in the NT or something, because that'd pump me, you know, chasing big barras that run off the 3 months of the year. That'd keep me going. Yeah, but I don't know if they're like on fly, I mean, but if there wasn't permit, I don't know, man. Because dude, like, your windows are shut. So I think we spoke about it the other day, I was talking to Chris, you know, like, you look at your time frame, say in a 365 day year, I might have 110 days of prime tides. Okay, I'm talking prime tides that, you know, book up really quick, but you half that straight away for weather. Seriously, man.
Up here, dude, definitely.
So you're down to 55 days, man. Okay,
Literally.
in a year, and then then you get maybe 55 days of good days of kind of wind, light wind, and sun. Okay, out of that. Then you still got to go out and fish for permit and catch them. Like, everything just comes down. So the actual amount of times you're actually fishing for permit in a year, man, properly, man, you're hungry to do it again.
Yeah.
Like barras, we can go fish them every day, bro. 20 out, like, well, from sun up to sundown. You know, you fish them and you fish them and you can keep fishing them and fishing them. Permit, I'm not going to have you on the flat on a day like today where it's cloudy because we're not going to be fishing them.
That's right.
So, that's why you want it more, because you don't get it enough. It's like anything in life, you're not getting it much. You crave, but you want it more, and because it's so fleeting often, and then out of that 55 days, literally you might get 30 days of that in a year, bro. In a year of that champagne, because my season typically from December also to April, it's the wet season. So you've got floods, the rivers flood, the channel gets dirty. So you're not, but anyway, so 30 days in my 110 days of like champagne permit fishing. Work it out.
Yeah, and
it gets squeezed, bro.
That's why. Well, I guess it keeps you hungry, right?
And you don't catch permit on, or some days you'll catch 3 permit, but you don't catch permit on all those champagne days either, mate.
Oh,
so this is why it keeps you going, man. Because it gets squeezed. It's fleeting.
They're just difficult on all fronts, I think.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they're so attractive to most people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, they are a super cool fish, man. I'm very fortunate to being able to, mould and build a career around that fish. Like it's it's done good things for me. Put it that way.
It's pretty cool what you've done and what you've achieved, man. Like to build the operation that you've built in a very difficult place to fish.
Yeah.
And guiding and all that sort of stuff. There's not a lot of guides here that are doing this sort of shit, man. And I'll tell you what else is like, excuse me, and you mentioned it too, like there's not a lot of people that pole. That can pole, even in Australia, period.
Yeah.
Let alone in a place like this where it's difficult. And you're always like, it's not like you've got a lot of room to pole around either here. Like if you're in the channel poling and stuff, the flats are small, man. You can't afford to be spinning around and doing crazy shit.
Well, I think that's the uniqueness, as in like, because I pole and there's a couple of others or whatever, but you kind of like, if people want to have that experience, you know what I mean, and fish the flats like that, then it's like a specialist thing, you know what I mean? Then they just tend to find you, yeah. But I tend to find if people have fished or Americans when they come, they usually, because they're used to that experience, you know what I mean? Or if Aussies have gone somewhere and been poled and then they're like, oh, who's doing that in Australia? Because they're like, I really like that experience. And I'm not saying, mate, people were doing it before I started guiding, catching permit on electrics or catching permit on anchor. But that's just the way I do it. And like I was saying to Chris the other day, and other people do it in other ways and they do it efficiently and catch fish. But the thing about poling the flats in particular for permit is where you can put yourself in the most stealth, and you're giving yourself basically a longer window of permit fishing, because you can, when I was speaking to Chris the other day and he fishes with an electric all the time, and he fishes with me here, and he goes, man, like where you're fishing that skinny and the fish are like bouncing through, and there's that little bit of chop, if that electric, they'd be hitting, boom, boom, up and down. So that limits him. I'd say, Chris, where would you be sitting? He'd be like out there. And I said, well, how many fish, not that were out there, do you reckon are coming through? And he's like, I don't know, maybe none, you know what I mean? So that's the difference, dude. And you can catch permit, on anchor, on electric, of course they can, and there's great guides doing it, but it's just you give yourself a longer time. And I always say permit, it's a game of percentages, and the more shots you can get, the better. So that's why, and why do the Americans do it, man? Because it's effective. It
definitely is, man.
It's and not every location is suitable for poling, like in the country for permit in particular, just because the way the fishery sets up, definitely. But Hinchinbrook, man, it's a permit, like as in a poling heaven, man.
It's cool, man. It's
the mud flats to the sand flats, yeah.
It's fair to say the same thing. Like you can pole the whole thing. Like you can pole barrow, you could pole your permit and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty cool, man.
And that's why when I was looking at it set up, and I looked at all the normal places on the radar, like Exmouth or whatever, or Weeper, but I was like, and although of course they do it there, but I was like, I like the idea of that whole polling thing, and someone else here was doing it at the time or whatever, and I was just like, that's cool, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, and this is the fishery to do it at,
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. I really like it, and it just like when we're on the boat together, everything just seems super efficient and streamlined.
Yeah.
And when you're on the water, it's an efficient use of time.
It
all
is,
the time.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
the best value for the client too.
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Especially for this fishery, yeah, I think so.
It's
yeah.
a hard one, man. We should probably wrap this up for your guest, Gideon.
Yeah, cool, bro. Sounds good. That was good chatting. I'm glad we knocked that over. Eh,
It was
man?
good. It was good to squeeze in a bit of time between shooting
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. No,
we
it won't be the last. It won't be the last one we do.
No, we can go in a bit more depth next
We'll have to
time.
go down.
maybe.
We'll have to. talk
That's
about-
just scratching the surface,
Man,
eh?
we'll have to chat about. We'll have to chat about some of your trips overseas.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all that sort
yeah.
of stuff. There's some, and even like tell some stories. Even get you and Shan together and
Yeah.
tell some stories and mad yarns
That's
and
cool.
stuff.
No, good times.
Where can people find you, man? Where are you guiding out of all that?
Yeah,
sort of stuff?
so Hinchinbrook Island, far north Queensland, between Cairns and Townsville. Yeah, the Australian fly fishing lodge, mate. Yeah.
Australian Fly Fishing Lodge on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I'm not huge on socials, as you know, but
Yeah.
I'm there floating around somewhere, and yeah.
Highly recommend it, man.
Nah, it's cool. Thanks,
Thanks for your time, bro.
Cheers, bro.